Harden cannot be stopped. His latest feat of excellence is hanging 61 on the Knicks in a win, breaking Kobe Bryant's record for points scored in Madison Square Garden by an opponent. Harden's averaging 52 per game over his last 5 and has all the opportunity in the world, but how far can he take it? True or false? James Harden will score 70 in a game this season.
Wow, 70. I think it's true. I think it's true. And you have to listen to me when it comes to James Harden predictions. Because 3 years ago, I said that the New York Post headline would be Madison Square Harden with James Harden going off in MSG. And then, of course, last night he goes for career-high 61. And we get that very headline, Madison Square Harden.
So you mean
with a similar photo?
Exactly. That's the creepy part.
By 2022, he's going to get 70 points.
No, I'm saying, no, I know. We're sort of joking here. Only 11 times have we ever had a 70-point game in NBA history. The last one, Devin Booker, oddly enough. Before that, Kobe, wilted it a million times. But I do think it's in play. Harden goes for 61. Now, a ton of free throws again, and people are upset about that, but he's going to always get there that 20, 25 times and knock them down. But I only went 5 of 20 from three-point land. He hits 3 more threes, which isn't that far-fetched. We're talking about a possible 70, or the game even goes to overtime and then 70's in play. So, as crazy as it sounds coming out of my mouth, I think there's a legit chance this happens.
He's got 3 games against the Phoenix Suns, another one against the Knicks in Houston, 2 against the Kings. I know they're better, but their defense is still not great, and the Hawks. So there are teams that are not very good defensive teams. We know scoring is just way up this season, so there is going to be a chance. And also, Chris Paul is supposed to be coming back very soon, but that could actually help James Harden because the defenders know they have to sort of keep their eye on Chris Paul a bit.
No.
James Harden's going to go crazy.
That's the interesting part.
That does not help James Harden. He hasn't had a plus 50-point game, over 50 points with Chris Paul in the lineup because they don't want that. They don't want James Harden to do absolutely everything because everybody else just stands around. Mike D'Antoni said it post-game yesterday. We stink because of it. It hurts us because of it. Let's look at this realistically. They barely beat the New York Knicks when a guy scored over 60 points. That's not a good thing. Everybody
else
else
beat the Lakers too,
right?
And they lost to the Sixers when he only had 38.
Yeah, exactly. And again, he hasn't scored over 50 with Chris Paul in the lineup. Chris Paul questionable on Friday. Chris Paul is going to take some of that off of him. That's a good thing for the Houston Rockets. It's a great thing for the Houston Rockets that he doesn't have to score. As Trey said, he's averaging over 50 points his last 5 games. That's a ridiculous number. I don't think he gets to 70 because he was knocking on 60's door plenty this season. He hasn't gotten close to 70. He hasn't got close to 70 quite yet.
No, but 61 against the Knicks last night, but 58 against the Nets, 57 against the Grizzlies in 34 minutes, we should point out, 54 against the Wizards in a lot of minutes, and then the 50 there against the Lakers in 35. I think it's in play. I think he's going to have one of these nights where he's going to be Curry-like from 3, where he or Clay-like from 3, where he does knock down 11 or 12 threes. Then you add into the fact that he gets to the line. I mean, 84% of his shots are threes or at the rim.
But he got 25 free throws in this game, and that's sort of like the limit if you're playing within the style of the game and the flow of the game to get 25 throughout the history of the NBA. It's either hack of guys get maybe more than that, but that's the max. He hasn't been getting that many free throws. Like we're trying to carve this, like slice this and dice it. It's amazing what he's doing. 70 would be remarkable,
Let me ask you, if he goes,
highly unlikely, maybe in 2022.
If the game goes to overtime, double overtime, triple overtime, and he gets 70, will you still count it?
Why not?
Okay, I just want to make
wouldn't
sure.
you?
No, I just want to make sure, that's all. All right, final one here.
The Pistons beat the Pelicans last night, but it wasn't pretty. However, not quite as cringeworthy as Reggie Jackson's post-game video bomb.
It's just nothing to be proud of, man. This is just masking our issue, you know what I mean? Like, we gotta lock in and finish games. Like, our lack of focus at the end of games has been awful. That's why we lose games like this. So I'm not necessarily, I'm happy with the win, but I'm not necessarily happy with how we close this game out.
It was a great start for you guys tonight, and that has been an issue at times this season. How much did you kind of take it upon yourself to get guys going?
You know what I'm saying? I was closing. I'll get you in a minute.
True or false? Reggie Jackson had Wednesday's most embarrassing moment. Tough to beat.
Well, yeah, embarrassing. You used a better word, I think, there, Trey. Cringeworthy, for sure. They won this game. They won this game. Blake is talking to the guy after the game, and then he's talking about how, they almost blew it because they don't have the focus and all that. It's like, the comedic timing is amazing here. Reggie's just clueless. And then Blake he doesn't even like muster up the sort of fake laugh even. You know, he doesn't even really do that. He sort of smirks, but I think he's smirking at the fact like, oh man, this is going to be a bad clip with what I'm saying. I don't know how it gets worse than that.
Well, that's usually safe video bombing territory, right? Anytime in a post-game interview, you can go video bomb. Reggie Jackson has no idea what's going on.
Okay, that's right. But then Blake usually would go, yeah, oh, come on. They want to stop talking to whoever they're talking to and just chum it with their buddies. He didn't even do that.
Yeah, no, it's cringeworthy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not cringeworthy, but I think P.J. Tucker, in a very close game, we got a 4-point game here, 40 or just under a minute left.
He forgot how to play.
Yeah, he just didn't know where he was for a second.
For some reason, like, I don't understand, because if he thinks he has to take it out, why doesn't he just pick the ball
Yeah,
up?
I know, it's so weird.
Gordon's face. What are you
Okay,
doing?
but also, why doesn't Eric Gordon actually maybe try and help out? He just gives up. And
Why doesn't Noah Vonleh pick it up?
Yeah,
as
that was
well?
like 4 times.
It's so weird.
If the
Everybody's
Knicks had come back and
confused.
won that game from that,
Then maybe you would. This would be ahead of
yeah.
that, but because they held on.
Yeah,
to
I mean, the Pistons won too, but the Rockets managed to pull it out. So.
I guess the Rockets aren't used to touching the ball. James Harden's always touching the
James will
basketball.
bring it up. He'll score. All right, let's hear from you guys. That's a tough one. Which one was more embarrassing? Reggie with the video bomb or P.J. Tucker just forgetting how to play basketball there for a second. All right, when we return, we're going to select and debate our NBA All-Star Game starters ahead of tonight's official 2019 All-Star Game starters will be announced later tonight on TNT. But before we find out who officially gets those starting spots, let's make some predictions here. Let's have a little bit of debate, playing a little All-Star edition of What You Got. Trey.
All right, in the Western Conference, Stephen Curry and James Harden are locks as the starting backcourt. We all agree that Paul George will get one of the 3 front court spots, but what about the other 2? Who will be the other 2 West front court players? Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Luka Doncic, who was second in fan voting during the last returns, LeBron, who's missed 14 games and counting, or Nikola Jokic. What you got?
Okay, LeBron is going to be a starter.
He's going to be a starter. I don't think he should be a starter.
Well, then you better not have
go
Steph
off,
Curry
yeah.
starting, and you better not have Kawhi Leonard starting, because they basically missed the same amount of games.
Basically, but not.
Two.
Okay.
2 more.
Okay,
That's
no,
all.
but LeBron he's basically played 58% of his team's games. He's missed a good chunk of
Okay,
seasons.
so the
barely
percentage is
over
similar
half.
to Curry and Kawhi.
Well,
That's my point.
It's not the same, and it's just increasing as it gets
How
to
is
the
it
All-Star.
different, though?
He's still out. He's still
Oh,
out.
okay. He's still out is a fair reason, but still, LeBron played in 34 games before the groin injury, which he has right now. You're right.
He is
but
going
Curry
to
and
start.
Kawhi have played in 36 games. So
He's going to
LeBron's
start. He's number 1 amongst fan voting last week. And the other part of the voting goes to the players and the media. The media may be annoying like I just was and splice it out, but the players are definitely going to put him on the ballot. He's going to get there. I think that's the only thing really when you're trying to differentiate between Davis and Paul George. I'd throw Davis in just ahead of him just because the game's played. It's annoying. They're all going to make it.
Yeah, right.
Not Doncic.
But who's going to start? I think it's going to be Kevin Durant myself, because I think the fact that
LeBron and Durant.
LeBron and Kevin Durant, because the Warriors have been awesome. Kevin Durant has been awesome, but we've kind of just like, it's Kevin Durant. We expect him to do this. But he's having an incredible season, career high in assists. I mean, look at those numbers, 28, 7, 6 on 51%, and his team's winning. The only knock on Davis for me is the fact that the Pelicans are struggling.
Yeah.
And you need to find a reason to separate one from the other. Davis has been incredible, but his team is struggling, so I go with Durant in that situation.
I do think ultimately tonight it will be LeBron, Paul George, and Durant as the 3 that get in there. But I think Jokic should maybe be over Durant, I guess is what I'm saying here, because you're talking about a winning team. I mean, the Nuggets wouldn't. Look, he's going to make the team, but they're not going to have another rep for the Nuggets. It's I can't see Jamal Murray making the All-Star team here this season.
He's on the periphery, but he won't make it.
So Jokic 20, 10, and 7. Everything runs through him offensively, and he is on the second best team in the West, and they were the number 1 team in the West for a very, very long time. So I think he would get my starting spot. But again, it doesn't really matter.
No, it is hilarious how forgettable Kevin Durant is. And,
Yeah.
And when it comes to All-Star, but he has started the last 2 seasons. It's not like he's the villain amongst
No, I think he will.
everybody else
again, too.
voting. He will. Yeah.
All right, Trey, what's your answer, though?
I got KD and LeBron as well. Like you guys are saying, KD a little bit slept on in MVP talks, and LeBron is LeBron. The biggest star in the league should start the All-Star game, but that's just me. The Eastern Conference a little bit more settled. Giannis, Embiid, and Kawhi have the front court on lock, while Kyrie Irving holds down one of the guard spots, but a second guard is tough. So guys, who gets the nod as the second Eastern Conference guard? Brad Beal, Kyle Lowry, Victor Oladipo, even though he's hurt, Ben Simmons, Dwayne Wade, who is second in fan voting the last time we heard, our hometown hero, Kemba Walker. What you got?
Wow, where do you go? This is tough.
Yeah, I mean, I'm contradicting myself if I don't say then, in this case, I have to pick someone else who's rewarding for winning over statistics. So it's Ben Simmons for me, because Philadelphia's had the best record out of all those guys. Now, the knock on Simmons is that he hasn't improved statistically from last season. He's still been just as good. And the Sixers are very, very good.
Yeah.
Kemba Walker started off the season fantastically, but he's kind of dipped a little, and the Hornets are struggling. And Bradley Beal, I mean, he's been great since John Wall's been out, but the Wizards have had such a terrible season. So I lean towards Ben Simmons for this one.
Not just because he's an Aussie?
Well, that helps. That
Yeah.
certainly helps, yeah.
Where you go?
Yeah, the jump shot factor kind of makes it a little bit interesting, the fact that he hasn't improved that. Because you can't just plug and play him. I mean, he's just going to be, he'd be great in an All-Star game.
Oh, well, let's start him
because
then.
he
Why
gets
not? This is what it is, an All-Star game.
Yeah, what about the fit? I think, to me, it comes down to Beal, Walker, and Oladipo for the last spot. And Oladipo obviously can't play. I think Walker gets a little bump because it's his hometown. He should start over Bradley Beal, even though Beal's numbers are a little juicier. His team has been poor from the beginning of the season. I think it's the one chance that Kemba Walker gets to start in front of his hometown. Give them something to cheer for.
Look,
Put
he
him
deserves
in.
it. He deserves it too. Okay, I know his number. He was scoring 30 a game when we started the season, and it's come back to earth a little bit. Still averaging 25 points per game. No one scores more in the clutch than Kemba Walker. No one, not even James Harden, in total points
Beal's
scored.
numbers are better than Kemba Walker.
Okay, they are very, very similar. Like, honestly, they're basically 25, 5-5 guys, and then that's amazing. Now, you're right. The Hornets, they've started to turn it around here over the last week or so, getting some much-needed wins. I think it is Walker. Wade's the interesting part here, though. Will the players vote Wade in, being in its final season, like the fans are doing? That's the wild card to me. Okay. Trey, I know you're a big Wade fan. Who are you going?
Give me that Dwayne Wade legacy vote. All year long I've been putting in Dwayne Wade votes. I can't stop now. You guys are talking. I'm just voting.
Oh, man. I thought it was too late. I guess not.
Nah, we work here.